You only have one life to live, so get the most out of it. On Good Life, Great Life, join me, Brian Highfield, and my guests as we share success stories, habits, mindsets, and lessons learned by successful people. These lessons are not taught in schools, but are critical for getting ahead in life. Whether you want a successful business or career, optimal health, or a lifestyle that most people just dream of, Good Life, Great Life has you covered. After retiring from a successful corporate career in my 40s, I founded multi-million-dollar businesses in the sports and healthcare arenas. Now, I help everyday people maximize their lives and speak regularly at seminars, on podcasts, and radio shows to share principles on the topics of health, wealth, and happiness. Don't let a good life get in the way of a great life. Join me today on Good Life, Great Life. Well, welcome to another episode of Good Life, Great Life. We have an awesome guest with us today. We have Sara Murdock, and Sara has been, for 10 plus years, have been working with different executives, really talking to them about how to transform their cultures and how they can just do business better, among a lot of other things. And we're going to dive into that today. So welcome to the program, Sara.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here, Brian.
Absolutely. Well, my first question is really just what was your inspiration to become an entrepreneur yourself and to go out there and work with businesses?
Absolutely. So a couple of things come to mind. One is that I believe the best businesses are really leaders in their communities. I actually began years and years ago as a community organizer, doing a lot of volunteer work, working in schools, community programs, et cetera. And I saw that oftentimes the people who were able to show up and sort of be present, offer resources, catalyze action were not always, but often really, really successful businesses and entrepreneurs. So I thought, hey, I want part of that. I want in.
No, that sounds like fun. And so you created a business out of this. How did that, what was the inspiration there and how's that been?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. So I do have a bit of an unusual background. You know, I'm a recovering academic. That's sort of my cheesy descriptor there. I taught college for a long time. I did a doctorate. I did projects really all over the world, kind of building them up from scratch and helping founders and executives of global programs sort of understand their impact. And from there, I went ahead and found some brilliant co-founders to put together what we describe as a sort of global hub for research and development, or a think tank, if you will. And we do all sorts of executive advisory and really help to solve last mile problems, last mile solutioning. It's funny because I'm a social impact person, right? I'm a people and culture professional, but I work with amazing leaders from all over, environmental sciences and blockchain, et cetera. So I love sort of bringing people together. So each of us sort of has our own niche expertise, has our own kind of discipline where we really excel and shine. But by bringing all these sort of fields together, we're able to solve bigger problems and really kind of cast that global net.
Awesome. So talk a little bit about company cultures and why those are so important for companies to survive or even thrive in today's world.
Yeah, great question. So listen, I understand that it may seem inconvenient at times. Some entrepreneurs say, hey, I'm just here to make some money, or hey, I have this specific technical goal. Why do I have to think about people? And one way that I kind of illustrate this, this field is that you can't go to the Olympics and wonder why you're not prepared to compete. Now, if you want to play small, and I don't say that to put anybody down, but if you want to play small, yeah, don't think about people. Just hire somebody on Fiverr, kind of dial it in at the last moment. Sure, you can check things off on a to-do list. If you want to be superb, like really world-class, you really need to start cultivating and curating a superb company culture from day one. And if you're already on day 300, don't panic, right? You can still do it. It's never too late. So a lot of the founders I work with, a lot of the execs that I work with, they think, hey, we'll get there when it's time to do our IPO, or hey, we'll get there when, we're on our third continent, or hey, we'll get there when we reach, our X number of millions or something. And I'm like, that is way too late. First of all, you can end up with, public debacles. Hopefully it doesn't get that extreme, right? But you don't need to be a toxic company to be one that isn't achieving at your highest potential. So people, human beings, are at the end of the day the ones who make up your company. They're the ones who are building your programs, products, and projects. And they're the ones that are either going to make or break your ultimate success.
And you work with a lot of executives in these companies, so a lot of C-level people. And what are some of the leadership qualities that you either see everybody have, or that you kind of focus and in on for them to improve upon for their leadership styles? What are some things that you're seeing out there, or what are some common traits, and what should executives right now be working on?
Yeah, great question. So a couple things always that I share with folks, and this really does apply to almost everybody. One thing is that your team can see your flaws. And that might sound bad, but it's not. It means it's a chance to connect. It's a chance to be human. It's a chance to show, hey, I get confused sometimes too. Hey, I don't have all the answers. Nobody's going to look at you and go, what's with this girl, or what's with this guy? They're going to go, wow, you too? Okay. Now I feel more relatable. Now I feel like I can connect with you. Now I feel like if I have a question, I can come to you, or I can come to my manager, and we can chew on this together and problem solve. Like, you want a team like that, right? You want a team that's going to raise their hand and say, hey, let's, how can we solve this? So, be humble, be human. And the other thing I would say too, is that a lot of executives, top executives, think that their teams sort of want like playtime, or they want fun. And particularly in this day and age where, everyone's talking about employee morale and, the great resignation and whatnot. I'm not saying that you should torture your people. That's not what I mean at all. But the answer is not to throw a bigger party, right? Or not to dish out some chintzy swag. I'm sorry, but nobody cares that much about that. And if people are showing up for, for the pen or something, like, that's a whole other problem that you've got on your heads. But what people really want is they want meaning, right? And so I say, companies who are missing the mark are focused on office parties and swag. Companies that are somewhat smarter, I'd say sort of middle tier, are the ones who are focused on things like professional development, compensation, just really sort of those baseline, like how to showcase that you care, right, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. That is important, absolutely. But the companies that are hitting it out of the park, the companies that you cannot pay people to leave, are the ones that offer meaning. At the end of the day, if someone's able to pay their bills, support their family, they've kind of got like a baseline of compensation going on. People want meaning. They want to feel like they're contributing to something bigger than themselves. They want to feel like they're building something important and they're doing it together. That's what folks want.
Yeah. And there's you brought up two great points there. I mean, one, giving advice to executives kind of be humble, that they don't have to have all the answers, and to be more human, because I think a lot of, I've worked with a lot of executives of Fortune 500 companies, and they want to appear as being flawless. They want to appear as being all knowing. And I think that you're saying it's working against them.
It really is. It really is. It's working against them, and it's actually creating problems. Like, you think you're solving a problem by looking infallible. You're actually making a problem for yourself that you don't even need to have.
Yeah. And talk more about, wanting meaning, because I think this is really driving a lot in the Great Resignation and the big quit, is people are reflecting and they're like, gosh, why am I in this crummy job? And is there something better for me out there somewhere? So so talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, of course, everybody's unique, right? So I don't mean to say that meaning is identical for every single human being. That would be a ridiculous statement. But I do really see time and time again, this goes for, older workers, it goes for Gen Z, it goes for pretty much all genders that I've spoken with, it goes for people in different locations and, nationalities and religions. Folks really need work, actually. Again, beyond, we're assuming that like basic bills are paid and people aren't starving, right? So, you've got those like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You've got food on the table, you've got some clean water, you've got that taken care of. What people really, really need in their lives is to feel like they're contributing, to feel heard, to feel, like, hey, I can go into work and I can actually contribute something in a way that is going to offer to the community. It might be the community right next door. It might be on a state level, a country level, it might be an international level. In some ways, it actually matters less than they have that opportunity to connect in that way. So to get just a little bit granular for a moment, I think one way that a company can do this, again, don't worry about those like one-off volunteer days. I think there's a lot of obsession with like, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but in, Los Angeles, a lot of the big companies, they'll organize like 2 or 3 days a year where you can go and have, paid day where you have a nice lunch and you take a photo op and this and that. Listen, if you want to do that also, great. I'm not against that. That would be, kind of silly, but it goes way deeper than like a once in a blue moon. It's what is your product actually doing? Like what kind of impact is it having in the world? Are you able to show that? Can you story tell that during your team meeting? Can you have a town hall where you let people ask questions about, hey, how is our consumer receiving this? Are folks really, feeling like they can, integrate our product into their lives in a way that is helping them? And it's probably already happening. Like if you have a successful product that's kicking butt in a marketplace consistently, it's already happening. You don't have to like grind production to a halt and restart your business under a new model. Yeah. It's already occurring. And having folks have that dialogue, oh my gosh, that's a game changer.
So is this the future of leadership? I mean, you're looking decades down the road of where these companies need what they need to do now to survive and still be here decades down the road. Is this the future of leadership?
In my opinion, yes. I believe that the future of leadership has a lot to do with a sort of mad scientist mentality. Are you able to craft concerted, I would say sort of like loving accountability zones in your corporation, in your enterprise, where people are allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to ask questions. They're allowed to, develop a true sense of, authentic contribution, right? You don't even have to pay people that much more. I think that's sort of the big dirty secret. It's really about inviting your employees in to kind of craft and create together. That to me is the future of leadership. And we're going to see, this is just my opinion, but we're going to see, I think over the next several decades, a real bifurcation between companies that sort of sit in that like 60s, 70s, 80s mentality, where it's just about KPIs, like that's it, right? Or it's just about bottom line, that's it. It's not going to work anymore. We're really going to have to cultivate that sense of humanism and that sense of co-creation within the workplace.
Awesome. All good stuff. And I wish we had more time to talk, but how can our audience connect with you or learn more about what you're up to, Sara?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that. So a couple of different ways. I am on LinkedIn. I'm constantly connecting with people on there. I can send you, the link for that. I just started an Instagram actually a couple months ago as a bit of an experiment. And I've had so much fun connecting with people about, really sort of personal topics and questions there. So that's at Dr. Sara Murdock on Insta. I can send that to you as well. I do have a website. It's just drsaramurdock.com. To be honest, I don't check it that often, but it has a great sort of roster of all of the podcasts and articles I've done over the last couple months.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much. Our guest today has been Sara Murdock, and I hope everyone enjoyed our discussion today. And I hope you join us next time when we'll have another guest and talk about another topic related to business and entrepreneurship. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.